And welcome back to the Homemade Podcast of Sports with your host, Jay Pops. Guys, I'm back, and it is Wednesday. We're getting closer and closer to the South Carolina game that will be at nighttime. And once again, I believe that's a sold-out event. So, what are we expecting? Who's going to show up and be the better team? Also, that brings me to mind. Who has the better quarterback? Who has the better quarterback? Texas A&M or South Carolina? I was looking at something today, and please give me all the grief in the world. I did not do my further research on Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler has 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Keep in mind, Spencer Rattler has been the starter for the entire season. I'm going to say that once again. Spencer Rattler has been the starter for the entire season. 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's a former 5-star. He's a former Oklahoma QB under Lincoln Riley, I might add. Move over. Texas A&M quarterback Haynes King hasn't started a full season period. He has not been a full starter for at least half of this season. 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Most of those interceptions has not been on him. Who's better quarterback? Haynes King. It is nothing to discuss on that. However, we will find out Saturday night. So what are we looking at? The offenses versus the defenses. For one thing, both of these teams don't have no offenses at all. Alright, I will honestly say that, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. Once again, both of these teams don't have no lick offenses at all. Alright, when I say that, understand what I'm saying. They don't have no type of top 30 offenses in all of college football. Both of these teams are pretty much at the bottom of the barrel in the SEC when it comes to SEC rankings. And the offenses are just down there. All right. Also, with that being said, both of these teams have similar defense. One is ranked in the top 40. One is ranked in the top 50. Well, top 60. So top 50, top 60. South Carolina is ranked number 44 in total defense. Texas A&M is ranked number 55 in total defense. What do these teams have in similar with one another? On defense, I'm talking about pass defense. Both of these teams' pass defense are like this, neck and neck. The better pass defense goes to South Carolina right now. I'm not going to name anybody on the back end, because quite frankly, I don't know anybody from South Carolina on that back end. I have not been watching South Carolina like that. I have not. I do know one thing. Texas A&M back end, I believe they are now getting Bobby Taylor back at corner. And they're also getting one of the linebackers back, Andre White. So, I believe both of those guys announced it on Twitter. Not saying that they will be starting, but expect those guys to get in there and get some action. Okay? So what does that mean for Texas A&M? I've said this a couple of times about this team. Texas A&M should be at the point in the third quarter where they're flexing their depth chart. You hear what I'm saying? They should be flexing their depth chart either in the third quarter or in the fourth quarter somewhere. It should not be a tight game. Although South Carolina's going to play the hell out of us. They should play you so much to where it gets to, once again, the third quarter, and you should be just, I'm about to take over from you. Your defensive backfield has not given up big plays pretty much all season, except in that Mississippi State game. Maybe like 1 or 2 in that Arkansas game where they just caught your defense sleeping. But that's about it. Okay? I heard somewhere where I was listening to Texas and they were saying that South Carolina should be able to go deep. And throw to who? I'm going to say that once again, and throw to who? Because I trust my defensive backs, which is Texas A&M, way more than South Carolina defensive backs. And I say that because there's been some guys out. Jalen Jones didn't even play in that game that we had against Miami. Or at least I don't believe he played. He might have did, but I don't believe he had played. Tyreek Chappelle did not play in that Alabama game. A couple of more guys in the back did not play. All right? I expect these guys to have a big game. Notice how I'm not talking about the offense. I will get to them in just a second. The defense, though, I expect the defense to show up in South Carolina and show out. Also expect South Carolina defense to play as well. However, if Texas A&M shows up with a 4-man pass rush, all I'm going to say is you thought Spencer Rattler threw 8 interceptions. Well, he's going to throw 3 more. In that Alabama game, we witnessed the turnovers that they left on the field defensively when they were going up against Mississippi State. That Mississippi State game, that A&M backfield was supposed to have 4 picks. That A&M backfield was supposed to have 4 interceptions. They came away with none. In the Alabama game, they came away with 1 interception, 3 fumbles for us. Listen to what I'm telling you. We have the defensive backs to go up against any wide receiver room in the country. Okay? That's far-fetched to say, but that's how much I believe in that defensive back room, and that's how much a lot of people around the country believe in that defensive back room. I say that to say this. Their defensive back room is up there with Georgia. Okay? So far as execution-wise is concerned, they're up there with Georgia. They're not letting anything go above them. All right, so now we get to the offense. On the offensive side of the ball, South Carolina has a way bigger edge on Texas A&M when it comes to offense. They're ranked 78th in the country. Texas A&M is ranked 112. A lot of that has been due to quarterback inconsistency. Okay? A whole lot of quarterback inconsistency. However, I will say this. The running game is getting better for Texas A&M. We're still not where we're going to be, which is so crazy to me because we have 4 running backs on this roster, and we're only letting one of them touch the rock and do what he has to do. I expect in this game to see 2 running backs. 2 running backs, man. I expected a whole lot. I'm not going to say what names. We already know A-Chain is one of them. I do not know who the second running back will be. I will say this. I will be surprised but not surprised to see Connor Weigman start this game. However, I know Connor isn't going to start. That's just that. Once again, I wouldn't be surprised, but I expect to see Connor Weigman. I expect to see Connor Weigman either in the 3rd quarter or 4th quarter of this game. Once again, I'm not overlooking South Carolina, but if this Texas A&M team shows up the second half, if the second half of the Alabama game's A&M team shows up, and if this Texas A&M team shows up with that 4-man front against South Carolina's offensive line, which is not good at all, I like our chances to see a blowout. I like our chances to win the game, but I like our chances furthering it more into a blowout state. Keep it a 4-man rush. I think they can go in there and dominate. Once again, I believe that game is sold out, or it should be if it's not. And we will just have to see what goes on from there. All right. That's all I have for you guys. Love all of you. Please make sure you subscribe to the show and hit that like button. Hashtag Big Max. I'll be back on the floor.